Welcome students. Myself Mrs. Shatabdi Dhar and I am going to discuss with you today about Introduction to Data Communication Networking. As a part of data communication, first we have to know what is computer network. A computer network is a set of devices connected through links. A node can be computer, printer or any other device capable of sending or receiving the data. The links connecting the nodes are known as communication channels. Computer network uses distributed processing in which task is divided among several computers. Instead, a single computer handles an entire task. Each separate computer handles a subset. The advantage of distributed processing is security. It provides limited interaction that a user can have with the entire system. For example, a bank allows the user to access their own accounts through an ATM without allowing them to access the bank's entire database. Faster problem solving. Multiple computers can solve the problem faster than a single machine working alone. And the other is security through redundancy. Multiple computers running the same program at the same time can provide the security through redundancy. For example, if four computers run the same program and any computer has a hardware error, then other computers can override it. So students, as a part of this introduction to data communication networking, we have to know that what is data communication. The exchange of data between two devices through a transmission medium is called data communication. The data is exchanged in the form of zeros and ones. The transmission medium used is wire cable. For data communication to occur, the communication device must be a part of a communication system. Data communications has two types. Those are local and remote, which I am going to discuss below. Data communication that is local. This local communication takes place when the communicating devices are in the same geographical area or same building or face to face, etc. And the remote data communication takes place over a distance, that is the devices are further. The effectiveness of a data communication can be measured through the following features like delivery. Delivery should be done to the correct destination. Next one is timeliness, that is delivery should be on time, and accuracy. Data delivered should be accurate. Now, what are the components of data communication? Those components are message, which is the main information to be delivered. The next one is sender. Who is sender? Sender is a person who is sending the message. The next one is receiver. Now, who is receiver? Receiver is a person to whom the message is being sent to. Next one is medium. It is a medium through which the message is sent. You can say here modem is a medium. The next one is protocol. These are some set of rules which govern data communication. To send some messages, we have we have to know what is data. Data is information that has been translated into a form that is efficient for movement or processing. Relative to today's computers and transmission media, data is information converted into binary digital form. It is acceptable for data to be used as a singular subject or a plural subject. Raw data is a term used to describe data in its most basic digital format. Now, this data has some representation. In computer networking, the term data is nothing but an entity that conveys meaning or information. The main purpose of computer networking is to enable and facilitate sharing of data between different computers in the world. And what are the representation type of data? The first one is analog data and the next one is digital data. In this further video, we can discuss about this analog and digital data. The first one is analog data. Analog data is continuous and can take infinite set of values. In the given diagram, the data takes a wide set of voltage values V at different points of time t. Examples of analog data are audio from a speaker, video output from any camera, etc. And the other is digital data. Digital data is discrete and not continuous. It cannot take an infinite set of values and it only takes a finite set of values. In the diagram given below, the data takes only two voltage values, that is positive and negative, at different points of time, that is t. Example of digital data includes text file, that is finite set of characters, binary representation in zeros and ones of any data like that used in computer arithmetic, bitmap file, etc. Digitally converted audio, video data, digital images, pictures, digital movie, etc. Now, the basic concepts on which the whole data communication server stands are server, client, workstation, and hosts. Now, what is server? A server is a type of computer or device on a network that manages network resources. Servers are often dedicated, meaning that they perform no other tasks besides their server tasks. On multiprocessing operating systems, however, a single computer can execute several programs at once. A server in this case could refer to the program that is managing resources rather than the entire computer. Different types of servers do different types of jobs, from serving email and video to protecting internal networks and hosting websites also. There are many different types of servers like file server. Now what is file server? A computer and storage device dedicated to storing files. Any user on the network can store files on this server is known as file server. And what is print server? A computer that manages one or more printers, and a network server is a computer that manages network traffic is known as print server. Next one is database server. Now what is database server? A computer system that processes database queries is known as database server. The next concept on which this data communication stand is client. Now what is client? The client part of a client server architecture is known as client. Typically, a client is an application that runs on a personal computer or workstation and relies on a server to perform some operations. For example, an email client is an application that enables you to send and receive email. The next one is Workstation. A workstation is a computer dedicated to a user or group of users engaged in business or professional work. It includes one or more high-resolution displays and a faster processor than a personal computer. A workstation also has greater multitasking capabilities because of additional random accessory memory, that is RAM, drives, and drive capacity. A workstation may also have a higher speed graphics adapter and more connected peripherals. The term workstation also has been used to reference a PC or mainframe terminal on a local area network, that is LAN. These workstations may share network resources with one or more large client computers and network servers. And the last one is hosts. A host is a type of web server that stores, serves, and manages websites and web-based applications and services. It is a remote server that provides the collective hardware, software, storage, and networking capabilities for hosting websites. A host may be also known as a web host. The key components of a host are hardware, software, and network. Now, what is hardware? This includes the computing server, storage, and other critical components of a web server. Next one is software, a basic operating system that specialized web hosting and management software. And what is network? Interconnectivity, data routing, and other types of networking is here. Now, what are the types of computer networks? Generally, networks are distinguished based on their geographical span. A network can be as small as distance between your mobile phone and its Bluetooth headphone and as large as the internet itself, covering the whole geographical world. A computer network by their size can be categorized in mainly four types. Those are LAN, that is local area network. Next one is PAN, that is personal area network. Next one, MAN, that is metropolitan area network. And the last one is WAN, that is wide area network, as you can see in this given picture. Now students, we are going to know what is LAN, that is local area network. Local area network is a group of computers connected to each other in a small area such as building, office. It is used for connecting two or more personal computers through a communication medium such as twisted pair cable or maybe coaxial cable, etc. It is less it is less costly as it is built with inexpensive hardware such as hubs, network adapters, and Ethernet cables. The data is transferred at an extremely faster rate in LAN connection. LAN provides higher security. As you can see in this picture, there are 5 computers as well as a file server, a mail server, and a print server and a printer also are connected in one network. This is a type of LAN network. Now, another type of network is PAN, that is Personal Area Network. Personal Area Network is a network arranged within an individual person, typically within a range of only 10 meters. It is used for connecting the computer devices of personal use is known as personal area network. Thomas Zimmermann was the first research scientist to bring this idea of the personal area network. It covers an area of 30 feet. Personal computer devices that are used to develop the personal area network are like laptop, mobile phones, media player, and playstations, and etc. etc. As you can see in this given picture. The two type of personal area networks are wired personal area network and wireless personal area network. Wireless personal area network is developed by simply using wireless technologies such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It is a low range network, and wired personal area network is created by using the USB. Now, what are the examples of personal area network? Body area network is a network that moves with any person. For example, a mobile network moves with a person. Suppose a person establishes a network connection and then creates a connection with another device to share the information. Then this body area network can be an example of this personal area network. Another example may be offline network. An offline network can be created inside the home. So, it is also known as a home network. A home network is designed to integrate the devices such as printers, computer, television, but they are not connected to the internet. Another example can be small home office. It is used to connect a variety of devices to the internet and to a corporate network using any VPN, that is virtual private network. The next is MAN, that is Metropolitan Area Network. A metropolitan area network is a network that covers a larger geographic area like city by interconnecting a different LAN to form a larger network. Government agencies use MAN to connect to the citizens and private industries. In MAN, various LANs are connected to each other through a telephone exchange line. The most widely used protocols in MAN are RS-232, Frame Relay, ATM, ISDN, OC3, ADSL, etc. This LAN has the range in a higher range, and or metropolitan area network is used in various fields. It is used in communication between the banks in a city. It can be used in an airline reservation. Also can be used in college within a city or in the military also. Now, here come this WAN, that is wide area network. A wide area network is a network that extends over a large geographical area such as states or any country. A wide area network is quite bigger network than the LAN. A wide area network is not limited to a single location, but it spans over a large geographical area through a telephone line, fiber optic cable, or satellite links. The internet is one of the biggest WAN in the world. A wide area network is widely used in the field of business, government, and education. As you can see in this picture, there are three MANs which are connected over this one WAN. The examples of WAN. The examples of WAN are mobile broadband. A 4G network is widely used across a region of country. Last mile. A telecom company is used to provide the internet services to the customers in hundreds of cities by connecting their home with fiber. Next is private network. A bank provides a private network that connects the 44 offices. This network is made by using the telephone leased line provided by the telecom company. These are the examples of WAN. Now I'm going to discuss with you about the advantages and disadvantages of WAN. What are the advantages of wide area network? The first one is geographical area. A wide area network provides a large geographical area. Suppose if the branch of our office is in a different city, then we can connect with them through that WAN. The internet provides a leased line through which we can connect with another branch. Next one is centralized data. In case of WAN network, data is centralized. Therefore, we do not need to buy the emails, files, or backup servers. Next is get updated file. Software companies work on the live server. Therefore, the programmers get the updated files within seconds. The next one is exchange messages. In a WAN network, messages are transmitted fast. The web application like Facebook, WhatsApp, Skype allows you to communicate with friends. We all know that in nowadays you all uses those things. Next one is sharing of software and resources. In WAN, we can share the software and other resources like a hard drive or RAM. Next is global business. We can do the business over the internet globally. And the last one is high bandwidth. If we use the leased lines for our company, then this gives the high bandwidth. The high bandwidth increases the data transfer rate, which in turn increases the productivity of our company. Next comes the disadvantages of wide area network. First is security issue. A WAN network has more security issues as compared to LAN and MAN network, as all the technologies are combined together that creates the security problem. Next is needs firewall and antivirus software. The data is transferred on the internet, which can be changed or hacked by the hackers. So the firewall needs to be used. Some people can inject the virus in a system, so antivirus is needed to protect from such a virus. Next one is high speed cost. An installation cost of the WAN network is high as it is involves the purchasing of routers, switches, etc. And the last one is troubleshooting problems. It covers a large area, so fixing the problem is difficult here. There are many advantages of LAN over MAN and WAN, such as LANs provide excellent reliability, high data transmission rate, they can easily be managed, and shares peripheral devices too. Local area network cannot cover cities or towns, and for that, metropolitan area network is needed, which can connect city, or a group of cities together. Further, for connecting country or a group of countries, one requires wide area network. Now, the next topic in this chapter is computer network architecture. Computer network architecture refers to how computers are organized in a system and how tasks are allotted between these computers. Two of the most widely used types of network architecture are peer-to-peer architecture and client-server architecture. Client-server architecture is also called tiered because it uses multiple levels. In this video, we will discuss each of these two types in more detail. In a peer-to-peer network architecture model, a system is decomposed into computational nodes that have equivalent capabilities and responsibilities. This division is in contrast to a client-server architecture model, where client and server nodes are divided into server and client roles. Peer-to-peer network is useful for small environments, usually up to 10 computers. It has no dedicated server. In this network, all the computers are linked together with equal privilege and responsibilities for processing the data. Peer-to-peer network architecture has some advantages and some disadvantages. The advantages of peer-to-peer network architecture are: it is less costly as it does not contain any dedicated server. If one computer stops working, but other computers will not stop that working, it is easy to step up and maintain as each computer manages itself. Now, what are the disadvantages of peer-to-peer network architecture? In the case of peer-to-peer network, it does not contain the centralized system. Therefore, it cannot back up the data as the data is different in different locations. It has a security issue as the device is managed itself. Client-server network architecture is a network model designed for the end users called clients to access the resources such as songs, videos, etc. from a central computer known as server. In this architectural model, a system is decomposed into client and server processors or processes. Servers provide computational resources or services which clients consume. Typically, a server provides services to many clients. It is also known or common for clients to consume services from multiple services. Stated otherwise, there is generally a 1:m relationship between a server and its clients, and it is sometimes the case that there is a 1:m relationship between a client and the server that it uses. The client-server architectural model supports the separation of functionality based on the service concept. These architectures are commonly organized into layers referred to as tiers. Those tiered architectures are two-tier architecture, three-tier architecture, and also multi-tier architecture. Client-server network architecture also have some advantages and disadvantages. Now, what are the advantages of client-server network architecture? A client-server network contains the centralized system. Therefore, we can back up the data easily. A client-server network has a dedicated server that improves the overall performance of the whole system. Security is better in client-server network architecture as a single server administrator the shared resources. It also increases the speed of the sharing resources. Now, what are the disadvantages of client-server network architecture? Client-server network architecture is expensive as it requires the server with large memory. A server has a network operating system, that is NOS, to provide the resources to the clients, but the cost of NOS is very high. It requires a dedicated network administrator to manage all the resources. Now, what is transmission modes? Transmission mode means transferring of data between two devices. It is also known as communication mode. Buses and networks are designed to allow communication to occur between individual devices that are interconnected. Each communication channel has a direction associated with it, and transmission media provide the direction. Therefore, the direction or transmission mode is also known as a directional mode. The transmission mode is defined in the physical layer. The transmission mode is divided into three categories. Those are simplex mode, half duplex mode, and full duplex mode. The first one is simplex mode. In simplex mode, the communication is unidirectional, as on a one-way street. Only one of the two devices on a link can transmit, the other can only receive. The simplex mode can use the entire capacity of the channel to send data in one direction. This transmission mode is not very popular as mainly communications require the two-way exchange of data. This mode is used in the business field as in sales that do not require any corresponding reply. The radio station is a simplex channel as it transmits the signal to the listeners but never allows them to transmit back. Keyboard and monitor are the examples of simplex mode as a keyboard can only accept the data from the user and monitor only can be used to display the data on the screen. As you can see in this picture, the transmission is only unidirectional. Now, as the advantage of simplex mode, we can say that the station can utilize the entire bandwidth of the communication channel so that more data can be transmitted at a time. And the disadvantage of simplex mode is communication is unidirectional, so it has no intercommunication between devices. The next mode is half duplex mode. In half duplex mode, each station can both transmit and receive, but not at the same time. When one device is sending, the other can only receive, and vice versa. The half duplex mode is used in cases where there is no need of communication in both directions at the same time. The entire capacity of channel can be utilized for each direction. In half duplex mode, it is possible to perform the error detection, and if any error occurs, then the receiver requests the sender to retransmit the data. An walkie-talkie is an example of the half duplex mode. In walkie-talkie, one party speaks and another party listens. After a pause, the other speaks and first party listens. Speaking simultaneously will create the distorted sound which cannot be understood. Now, as the advantage of half duplex mode, we can say that in half duplex mode, both the devices can send and receive the data and also can utilize the entire bandwidth of the communication channel during the transmission of mode. And as disadvantage of half duplex mode, we can say that in half duplex mode, When one device is sending the data, then another has to wait. This causes the delay in sending the data at the right time. And the last mode is full duplex mode. In full duplex mode, both stations can transmit and receive simultaneously. In full duplex mode, signals going in one direction share the capacity of the link with signals going in other direction. This sharing can occur in two ways. Either the link must contain two physically separate transmission paths, one for sending and other for receiving, or the capacity is divided between signals traveling in both directions. This mode is used when communication in both directions is required all the time. The capacity of the channel, however, must be divided between the two directions. The full duplex mode is a fastest mode of communication between devices. The most common example of the full duplex mode is a telephone network. When two people are communicating with each other by a telephone line, both can talk and listen at the same time. Now, as the advantage of full duplex mode, we can say that both the stations can send and receive the data at the same time. And the disadvantage of full duplex mode, if there is no dedicated path exists between the devices, then the capacity of the communication channel is divided into two parts. This is the disadvantage of the full duplex mode. I will discuss about data transmission and the type of data transmission in my upcoming video. Thank you, students.